Have you been playing FNAF AU and have had a lot of struggles with Scrap Baby? Often finding yourself confused and not understanding what to do? Well, that's why I've made this tutorial, to make it a little easier for you guys to understand how the fight works. Now, as soon as you load in, you're going to see that Scrap Baby's on the other side of the table from you. You have a bunch of tasks as well on the left, and an arrow pointing to the right. Just focus on the arrow to the left for now. Whenever you press that button, you're going to see 6 separate tasks. It doesn't matter what order you do them in, it just depends on whether or not you complete them. You can do it however you want, it's up to you. I just did it this way because it's the easiest, in my opinion. I personally start with the AI training, or the card minigame as some call it. It's the hardest one, in my opinion, because sometimes you can get unlucky. It's basically just the Help Wanted 2 Endo minigame, if you remember that one. And you just have to remember the cards. If you accidentally X out too early, then you'll have to remember the pattern all over again. Quickly, just click on the cards as they appear, match them up, and that's all you have to do for this one, while watching out for Scrap Baby in case she moves. Here, there's a little sound clip that plays before she starts to move. You're supposed to shine your light directly on her whenever you turn around. That's what the right arrows are for. However, sometimes she'll just glitch out, and it's really not your fault if this happens. It's just a little bug in her fight. You get a little clip of me defeating Scrap Baby here, and her working correctly in this case. But I'm also going to show you how to deliver robots correctly. So first, you're going to want to look at which one's first. So number 1 says Willow Street. So you're going to want to press the little button underneath the box and find and press Willow Street. You want to do this for number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6. And press the correct corresponding address. Whenever you're done with this, you can move on to the next task. Now, before I show you CPU making, there is one more thing I wanted to mention. You may notice me taking off the panel to look at Scrap Baby often. This is because she has 3 phases before she will attack you. We have her in her normal sitting position, then her looking a little up, and then whenever she looks like she's about to attack by looking completely up, that's when you're going to want to shock her. You can only shock her a number of times, though, and you will see in the danger meter. Once you have 2 reds, that means you can no longer shock her. Just keep watching her, and whenever she finally shows her head, that's when you're going to want to shock her. I'll make this next part quick. It's just a simple CPU repair. Look at what needs to be put in certain areas, and just drag them to that correct area. That's all you have to do for this phase while watching out for the other aforementioned things that I mentioned Scrap Baby could do. And after that, we are going to go to the diagnostic task, which is basically just the one that you have in Security Breach. Look at where the colors are shown on the endo and repeat that pattern. Getting out of this at all, no matter what time it is, will force the pattern to restart. So get it over with quickly, and as long as you do it 3 times without messing up, then you'll be fine. Also, I feel like it's normal for me to mention at this point that if you mess up on a task, it just asks you to repeat it, you will not die. So don't worry about that. Next up is my personal favorite. It's just like the Build-A-Mangle minigame that we have in Cursed Dreadbear. On the top, you'll see the parts that it's requesting you to put into the little box in the bottom. Whenever you see that part appear, then you're going to want to drag it and put it into the little bin in the bottom. If you mess up, pick the wrong part in the wrong spot, you have to repeat the minigame, so I recommend just hurrying up and getting it over with. This is a pretty quick and easy minigame, so you shouldn't mess up too much on this one. The last one here is the Order Supplies minigame. In the top left corner, you will see a little supply list. You want to click on that and see what you need to buy. If you scroll, you'll be able to see a list of plush suits and CPUs. Find the CPU or plush suit it's asking you to buy. Insert the number of that item it's wanting you to buy. And whenever you're done, you want to press on the shopping cart in the top right, press finish, and that'll be all the mini-games. And once you're done with that, we can move on to the much harder second phase, which took me a while to figure out. So if you're not able to get this one quickly, it's completely fine. It's a really difficult mechanic to understand. Now, this one's really tough to understand. First, I'm going to have to freeze the video so that way you can understand what I'm looking at here. So let's get a better look at this. So here we have 3 different Scrap Babies and an arrow pointing to 3 different things. Now this is really difficult to understand, and I'll show you just what they mean. First off, we have a half and half baby pointing to a claw. Now, if you'll notice, there's this thing. It's an open claw. The half and half baby is just one of those little glimpses you'll see whenever you're trying to look around. So if you see the little glimpse baby and her claws open, you're going to want to check that part off first. Next, we have a picture of baby with glowing eyes, pointing to a picture of baby with her faceplate open. That means that if you see her face open on the haywire, that's the one you're going to want to check off first. This part is really just which part do you see in a sequence. So, for example, if you see the glimpse baby, or like one of those little hallucination things that appears for a split second with her claw open, you check that off first. If her faceplate is open during her haywire phase, you're going to want to check that off first. And then lastly, we have a baby with two different eyes right after a picture of baby from the sideway view. This means that if you see baby's eyes alternating colors while she's charging at you, that's the one you're going to want to check off first. If you manage to get all three correctly in order without messing up, then you'll be able to defeat Scrap Baby. If you do not do this correctly, then she will kill you after a phase. To know that you've done it right, she will deactivate as soon as you shock her, and everything is correct. Now, as for her haywires, she will use green, blue, or black eyes. They really don't matter. You just whenever you see her haywiring, you just want to use that cassette tape on her. If you don't do it in time, then she will kill you. If you see her charge, then you're going to shock her. If everything's not in the correct order, then she will kill you during the shock. And if you do it all correctly, she will deactivate. But if all things aren't checked off, then she'll just go back and you'll have to continue the fight until all things are checked off. I recommend a lot of batteries for this because these battles can get really lengthy at times. And finally, whenever you're looking around to see a glimpse of her, remember there are 4 different things that could happen. Her face could be twitching, you could have alternating eyes between green and blue, or you can have black eyes, or her claw can be open. If any of these things correlate to the other thing next to it, then that's exactly what you're going to want to check off first. If you don't see anything that is on the checklist, so if you see Scrap Baby haywiring or black eyes, but you needed her claw to be open, you don't want to check that off first. I recommend just trying to memorize everything quickly, checking the list as many times as you can, and after a haywire, try to remember exactly what you saw. If you can do this, then you'll be able to hold on long enough, and you'll be able to defeat her in this phase. This can be really difficult, so I have a few different fights that I can show you that will that should hopefully explain to you guys how to handle the second phase. It's all just a matter of reaction time and if you can handle it or not, and if you can't, then it's really not your fault. This is a really tough fight, like I've already said like 14 times before, but it's a really fun fight once you get used to it, and the fight won't end until all 3 things are checked off, and whenever that happens, then the game does a little code check to make sure that everything was checked off in the correct order. So remember everything I've taught you whenever you go into this fight, and remember correctly everything that you see on that paper. Try to make sure that everything is shown correctly. So, like, if you see her faceplate open, but you don't see it open on the checklist, then don't check it off. If you do, she will kill you as soon as you shock her. Anyway, here's the first fight I want to show you as a little example. Hey, this is just a message from me after in editing right now. Thank you so much for watching this video. It really feels so nice for people to watch these things. The Funtime Foxy one blew up, and it made me think that maybe this game's gonna make me popular. And then it released, and I didn't get anything. But I really hope this video gets popular, so I can so that way people will be able to understand this character a little bit more, so they can fight her themselves. But yeah, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.